Hi, hello. I'm making this video and it's going to be a private video. This is something that is going to be rough because it's kind of chaotic. I will be sending this to you, Chris, Shelly, and Heather. It will be a private video, so if you guys want to share it with others, that's fine. I just will not be making this public. Um, on regards to September 22nd and 23rd, this is something that I received back in March. So I'm going to show you my notes. So back in March 27th of this year, I got so many downloads of the number 22 and 23. I did not understand why. I was led to look up the year and how it's related to 22 and 23 because this also goes to, I was reading 1 Kings 16 and then 17 through 18. And that's where this all came up from. But long story short, I'm not going to try to put too much into this because I'm just trying to condense it because there's so much. So bear with me. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I believe I have all of you on Facebook and other places as well, so feel free. But anyways, the way that I got 22 is I subtracted it. It was subtracting 22 years from the year 2025. Okay, and that's where I landed with the year 2003. So, and this is where Hebrew comes in, and it's really intense. But the year of 2023, that was when the USA, the UK, and Australia led an invasion into Iraq, warning of weapons of mass destruction. That's one. And then also later in that year was when the Iran announced its own nuclear program in violation of the agreement with the International Atomic Energy Agency. So all within the year 2003, that happened. And then I was led to also subtract 23 from 2005. And then that would have been 2002. And what was significant about 2002 is you have to add the last vowel or letter in the Hebrew alphabet, 22 plus 1. And then that would be Tav Elpha. And that would be essentially the covenant leader. And so what happened that year was super significant in the sense of I guess I didn't write that down. But you can go on Wikipedia and understand why it was significant because during that time there was also conflict going on still with Palestine, obviously in Gaza and Israel, in the West Bank. So everything here as well. So you get 2013. These are all the attacks. There was many attacks during that time against the Palestinian people and Israel because of what they were going through, and there were many, many suicide bombers and innocent people died. So what also came up is November 21st, 2012. And what's interesting is it was the year 2012, but you can switch it and you get 21. But that was also in Tel Aviv, there were 20 injured. And that was the 8th and last day of Operation Pillar of Defense, only hours before the ceasefire was reached. And that happened 12 years ago. Okay, so what's interesting is I subtracted, so I had to put 1 for 2005. That's the year that we're in. So that would be the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And then I subtracted 11 from 2005, and that was 2013, palm of hand to open. So this is going to be the modern Hebrew right here, and this is going to be the Canaanite, the very first, okay? So then I subtracted 12, which would be from 2025, and then 2012, staff, goad, control, or towards, and that's the staff. Then you also subtract 22 from 2005, which is also 2003, which is the mark, the sign, the covenant, and then that's the cross, and then the modern Hebrew. And then if you subtract 23 minus 2005, you get 2002, excuse me. And this is what I was talking about. You have to add the last part of the alphabet to the first, which is equals 23. So that would be Tav Alfeh, which is either you can read it as, obviously they read it from right to left, but us as Americans, we read it from right to left to right. So then it would be the covenant leader or leader of covenant. If you're reading it as Hebrew, it would be leader of covenant or the covenant leader in American. And then 8 from 2005 or 2025 is 2012, which is jet, which is tent and wall and fence and separation. And there you go. So then the 2012 is also significant. That's what I was talking about. It's the 28 injured. So if we go down here, you see how there's 21, but backwards, and it's in November. So there's 28 injured on the 8th and last day of operation of Pillar of Defense, right? But if we go into and look at Wikipedia, I use Wikipedia as a basic. It could be off, I'm not sure, but this is what I was led to do. So September 28th of 2000 was the start of the West Bank barrier. That was when they started the war, and it lasted 4 months, or 4 years, 4 months, 1 week, 4 days, which equals 13. So if you do 13 from that, it equals mem, water and chaos. That's what happened for 13, okay? Follow me this. Now, if we go to number 9, and 9 we get from over here, right? So we have 22, right? So we add 2 is 4, 23, 2 and 3 is 5, okay? And then 5, 4, 9, and then that would be 9/22 to 9/23. So September 22nd to 23rd, okay? So if we go down here, that's where we get that 9 from. And it's tet, basket, snake, surround. Okay? So this is what I was led to on the 15th, right? And the 14th. And then the 16th, okay? This was me. I woke in the early morning because we had a thunderstorm here. And it was exactly at 1:51 a.m. I was woken by thunder 2 times, okay? 2 times it woke me. So I got up on the 2nd. But then I was not aware of the major earthquakes going on the California border. So I happened to hear that in Chris's video. And that was the same day that I was woken, okay? So then you come down here and you add that together, obviously, and that's going to be 7, which is to plow, weapon, and cut off. Okay, that's the Hebrew, and that's a plow, that's the Canaanite. Now, if we use and add these up, I looked at my bedroom clock at 6:50, and then several minutes later, I went out to my kitchen to get coffee, and I looked at the stove, and it was also 6:50. So if we add that together, that's 11, right? So if we come up here to 11, that shows us that it was the palm of hand and to open. Okay? So, here we go. Now we go on to this. All right, this is going to be interesting. This might be a little hard. I tried to color code it, so I will do my best. So, the start of 2023, The start of the Roman or Gregorian calendar, that was the start, okay, which was a Monday. That was the beginning of the year. And on 2025 of this year, we started on a Wednesday of the beginning of the calendar, the Gregorian calendar. Then if we look to here, in 2002, it was a Tuesday, okay? And then if we look here in 2003, it was a Wednesday. All right. And then in the year 2000, it was a Sunday, which is interesting because September 28th of 2000 also landed on a Sunday. So you got a double Sunday there, okay? So, okay. I'm trying to keep everything in track and not put too much. Ugh. I'm sorry if this is confusing. It's confusing to me too. The Lord had to show me this. But what's interesting is Rosh Hashanah is supposed to start the nightfall of the 22nd, right? On Monday and go until the 23rd, correct? But for us, it would start the nightfall of the 23rd and continue until the 24th, right? So here's the thing, is the 23rd. So Rosh Hashanah ends nightfall in Israel. The Hebrew 22 plus 1 is 23, which we talked about up there, and that was 23 minus that is 2002, which then you get that, okay? And then, but this Judges also talks about 22, which is interesting. Go read it. It talks about a family and a tribe. And then this one also speaks about 23, literally just like the next verse. So then you have 22 minus 2005, which is 2003. There you go. And then Rosh Hashanah ends in the U.S. The Hebrew is Tav, and then it's the Mark and the Covenant, right? Okay. So we go over here, and this is what I was talking about with September 28th. It's the start of the withdrawal from the Gaza West Bank barrier, and it was the 4, 4, 1, and 4 is 13, okay? So then I was led to look up the Zakota calendar, and the reason why I use the Zakota calendar is because Kim Fisher mentioned it many, many, many months back because she had a vision that God gave her of this calendar. And it's something that I feel is very important, so I use it. I don't use it all the time, but when the Lord leads me, I use it. And I've only used it twice, and this is my second time. So this is very important because it actually makes sense. So I kept feeling led that I needed to go and look up new wine. So the new, or not new wine, new oil. I don't know why new oil kept popping up, but it did. So I did my first count on the Zakota calendar, and at first I was counting Sundays, and I'm not supposed to. This was my first count, and I thought I had got it, and it was going to be on the 13th, right? No, I was wrong. I went back and looked at the calendar. I'll put screenshots back, and it actually showed on the Bulgarian calendar it would be on the 7th is the new wine. But on the Zakota calendar, it would actually fall on the 22nd is new oil, okay? New oil, which would go with when they celebrate Rosh Hashanah, even though it's not actual Rosh Hashanah, or Rosh Hashanah, yes, Rosh Hashanah, I'm sorry. Even though it's not the actual day for it, it's supposed to be up here, but it falls on when they celebrate it in this realm. Now, this may be God's actual date, but the Hebrews celebrate it on the 22nd, which would also fall on the new oil date. And this is when they're supposed to do their wood sacrifices and offerings of the fresh pressed oil of the first olives of season. And this is every tribe of Israel would be doing it this week. So that's also very significant because it would go until about here. And that falls on the Gaza withdrawal day. So I know this is a bit confusing, and it was a bit confusing for me too. So I will put in the screenshots in between when I'm talking about the Zakota calendar, and it's very important because it makes more sense on why New Oil was part of this. I don't know why he kept throwing me to New Oil, but he did, and this is very significant along with the Hebrew and everything. Um, I I don't know if you have questions and you need more information. Please let me know. This is very rough, and this was back in March. I got all this information, so I kind of whipped it together, and he's been leading me the last 2 days. If you have any other information that could be a part of this and actually work, let me know. I'm confused. I'm not a numbers person, but I'm a patterns person. So these numbers don't make sense, and I'm lost. But I'm giving this to you because it might be another piece that you guys need. I love you guys. Thank you for all that you do. I'll see you in heaven soon.